What's up everyone, and welcome back to Nexus. Have you ever heard of the Bermuda Triangle? Of course you have. It's the creepy patch of ocean where planes and boats and all sorts of stuff go missing. In this video, we're going to be looking at the top 10 mysterious facts about the Bermuda Triangle. We're so close to 500,000 subscribers, so if you could take 1 second out of your day to subscribe to the channel, that'd be very much appreciated. Also, make sure to leave a comment down below letting us know that you subscribed, and we'll try to reply to almost everyone. Also, for this video, let's aim for the golden like button, which is 1,000 likes, so make sure to click that like button to help us reach our goal. And with all of that out of the way, let's jump into the video. Number 10. The story of the Bermuda Triangle began a long time ago, way back in 1492. Christopher Columbus was traveling through the Bermuda Triangle when he and his men supposedly saw a bright, disc-shaped object rise from the ocean and fly into the sky. On another occasion while traveling through the area, they saw what they claimed to be stars spinning in the sky above them. The final sighting that Columbus had during a trip through the triangle was a candle-styled light floating up and down out of the sea where there couldn't be a fire. On all of these occasions, Columbus also reported that his compass was spinning wildly around. The only reason that this is so far down on our list is because the sightings were pulled from Columbus's log, which is actually just a rewrite from someone known as Bartolome de las Casas, as all of Columbus's actual logs have been lost to time. Number 9. Bruce Gernon and his dad had been flying in the Bahamas since 1967 and had made over a dozen flights to and from Andros Island. For those of you that don't know, this is right where the Bermuda Triangle is. In December of 1970, Bruce and his dad had a friend named Chuck, and they all took off in a plane from Andros. They flew straight through a cloud that was around 500 feet above the ocean, which was lower than lenticular clouds tend to get. After a call into the Miami flight service, they found out that the weather was supposedly fine, so they kept flying. Suddenly, the cloud changed from lenticular to cumulus, and they started to climb to escape the cloud, but eventually it caught up. After 10 minutes of climbing away from the cloud, they broke free at around 11,500 feet into clear skies. They ended up flying straight into another giant cloud that closed in around them. They were surrounded by flashing lights, but no rain or lightning. Eventually, they broke through into a cloud tunnel. All of their electronic instruments started to malfunction. A few minutes later, everything cleared out and they were over Miami, which was impossible because they have only been flying for 30 minutes. That trip would have been impossible to make in 30 minutes, so no one has been able to explain why Bruce Gernon's plane managed to accomplish that. Some think they went into a cloud that was like a time travel, some think that the cloud helped them go faster or something. As of right now, no one has been able to explain it, which is just crazy to think about. Number 8. With all of the strange happenings around the area, it's no surprise that there is a secret military base right next to the Bermuda Triangle that some reference as the Naval Area 51. The site is called the Atlantic Undersea Test and Evaluation Center, or AUTEC for short. Now, AUTEC isn't quite as secretive as Area 51. I mean, they have their own website. The website states that the mission is to support undersea warfare by improving tracking performance and data collection. It was set up in 1958, and since people have reported seeing strange lights and supposedly even UFOs in the area. I doubt that everything in the Bermuda Triangle could be attributed to them, but I mean, they weren't around when Christopher Columbus sailed through the area, but they might be responsible for some of the more recent things happening. Number 7. The USS Cyclops was a beast of the ship that supplied fuel to the American fleet during the First World War. It was a huge 522-foot-long boat that displaced 12,000 tons of water as it sailed. On March 4th, 1918, the ship disappeared into the inky black depths of the Bermuda Triangle's water on a journey from Barbados to Baltimore, and no remains were ever found. There are many theories on what have happened to Cyclops, but strangely enough, none of them have ever been proved. To this day, Cyclops' disappearance remains one of the strangest mysteries of the ocean, and it all happened right in the middle of the Bermuda Triangle. Number 6. From a strange boat disappearance to a strange plane disappearance, this is a story of pilot Irving Rivers and the Piper Navajo. Rivers was an experienced pilot who was making a solo flight to St. Thomas from St. Croix, a route that took him straight into the Bermuda Triangle. Rivers managed to get all the way to St. Thomas without an issue. He had gotten so far into his journey that the air traffic controllers could actually see the lights of Rivers' plane. Now you'd think that because the journey had gotten so close to safety that it would have been fine, but no. Since Rivers was so close to landing, the air traffic controller decided to get distracted on another plane that was also departing from St. Thomas. But when he tried to get his eyes back on Rivers' plane, he couldn't. He then checked the radar and it couldn't be seen there either. Rivers' plane had completely disappeared and he was never heard from again. It's not like they found any debris either, which you would expect considering how close the airport is. The plane was like it had been completely removed from the face of the planet. Number 5. For our midpoint, we have a shocking statistic. Every year, the Bermuda Triangle claims 4 aircraft and 20 ships and yachts every single year. And there have been over 1,000 lives lost within the triangle since 1900. Though there have probably been more lives lost throughout history, you think that a lot of people would just stop traveling through the area. But no, it's still a widely used piece of ocean. Number 4. The Bermuda Triangle isn't the only mysterious triangle out there. The Dragon's Triangle, also known as the Devil's Sea, is an area in the Pacific that has conditions that are incredibly similar to the Bermuda Triangle. The name has been around since the year 1000 BC, where the Chinese thought a huge dragon lived below the sea that pulled ships down into the depths to satisfy their hunger. Another of the unholy trinity of triangles is the Lake Michigan Triangle, another area where people in the aircraft have been known to disappear. The most well-known is the Northwest Flight 2501. The plane was carrying 58 people and crashed into the Lake Michigan Triangle, but the plane was never found. No matter how much sonar technology or how many searches they did on the bottom of the lake, they could never find the wrecked plane. Number 3. Flight 19 was the designation of 5 torpedo bombers that disappeared over the Bermuda Triangle in 1945 after losing contact during a training flight from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. It was a route navigation and combat training exercise that took the group of planes into dangerous airspace of the Bermuda Triangle. The crew began to report that their compasses had started to fail and that they no longer knew exactly where they were. The weather started to get worse and worse, and eventually the flight crew stopped reporting back to base. All of the men had disappeared. A rescue aircraft then launched with a 13-man crew after its initial broadcast stating that the mission was underway, and it was never heard from again. The 14 men from the first flight and the 13 men from the second flight had totally vanished. No amount of searching in the Atlantic, Gulf of Mexico, or the locations within the interior of Florida have turned up any bodies or aircraft, which is crazy to think about. Number 2. To call a boat unsinkable is a pretty dangerous move. I mean, look at what happened to the Titanic. But that didn't stop the owner of the yacht named Witchcraft, which sort of disappeared in the middle of the Bermuda Triangle. Which was odd because it was just 1 mile away from the marina it set out from. The man who was driving the yacht, Dan, noted that he had come into contact with something below the water, and the rubber of the yacht, or perhaps the propeller, had been damaged. He made a call into the RCC in Miami, and even though he wasn't panicking, they dispatched help as soon as possible. They didn't consider anything to be strange until they got to where the call was made from, and the Witchcraft wasn't there. As I said before, the Witchcraft was supposedly unsinkable. It had a specifically designed flotation device that was built for the boat to make sure that it was very hard to sink or impossible to sink. However, when they got there, not only was it not there, it didn't even look like it had been a struggle. The Miami Coast Guard had no explanation for the disappearance of the Witchcraft, and there likely will never be one. Number 1. Apparently, down deep below the Bermuda Triangle lies the secret, long-lost city of Atlantis. Supposedly, 2 scientists, Paul Weisweig and Pauline Zalitsky, brought a robot under the water and have confirmed that a giant city lies below the bottom of the waves. It is made up by 4 pyramids and a bunch of other buildings. According to the report, the city was submerged when the sea levels rose and the land began to sink, which links up to the Atlantis mythos exactly. There were pyramids and sphinx even bigger than the ones that are found in Giza, stripped of Egypt, and were created with stones that weighed hundreds of tons. Apparently, knowledge of the city has existed since the 60s, but events like the Cuban Missile Crisis have restricted research into the topic. And that was our list of the top 10 mysterious facts about the Bermuda Triangle. If you think we missed anything better, don't hesitate to leave a comment down below letting us know. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss another video in the future, and hit that like button so you can hit that golden like button of 1,000 likes. Thank you so much, have a great day, and goodbye.